It is so interesting. I always wonder every single week which intro is going to pop up. I should probably take that one out of there. But hey, you know what time it is? It is 8 a.m. Eastern on Saturday morning. And Mark, I was just thinking to myself, it's been, I feel like this is a really good Saturday to have Sales Logic because the last 2 weeks have been a little wonky because here in the US, 4th of July, landed right in the middle of it. Canada had Canada Day. And so people have been on vacation before, on vacation after. And now I feel like, okay, everybody's back in the office. Time to get going.
Except for those in Europe, because I was talking to some European folks this week and they're heading out on holiday. So
in Europe, July is usually holiday.
You're right. Yeah. Followed by August. Anyway, but you're right. And I'll tell you what, we got to get buckled down selling right now because otherwise you're going to be so far behind come the fourth quarter. And anyway, hey, the topic we got today, the power of predicting the opportunity. Because again, you got to figure out where the opportunity is coming from. We got a great question. We got a great book and our lightning round, top 10 ways to build your reputation. So let's jump into this thing. The power of predicting the opportunity. What are things that you see, Mayor, that can help you drive this forward?
Well, one thing I want to back up here a second and discuss a moment why we're even talking about this. So I came across an unbelievable statistic. I was doing some new research for a book, and win ratios are seriously on the decline in 2026. But for sales professionals who are proactive, predictive, I'll use your word, they get 95% of the opportunity. So think about that. Overall, win ratios are on the decline. But for sales professionals who are proactive, they're getting, they're 95% of the time, they're in that top little group that is at least getting the final review and the final look at. I thought that was a startling statistic.
Well, it is a startling statistic for several different reasons. One, it tells you how desperate people are becoming when it comes to trying to find opportunities. They're just throwing garbage. And I think that's because of AI has created so many tools that we can do so. So I think that's putting stuff into people's buckets that should not be there. But this other piece, you're right, because again, the key to success is the more focused you can be. And those top performers are absolutely focused. So they understand where to look to find those predictors of opportunities. And that's the big difference. So what are some things that you're seeing? I've got some things, but let's get this conversation going.
Well, I think the first thing, it's so simplistic, but I think we talk about it all the time, but we don't do it. And I think sales professionals who really predict the next sale, those that are proactive, have an unbelievable skill of listening. So they're not going into a sales call with any idea, really, maybe some idea, but they're not biased as to what they're selling, and they're listening for that next opportunity. I'll give you a great example. I was on a coaching session with a CRO the other day, and we were talking about all kinds of things. And she just mentioned the fact that she said, "Oh God, we have something like 72 trade shows in the next 2 years." And she said, they just exhaust us. And so I just asked, I said, "Do you have a plan or a strategy for those trade shows? How you go about selecting them or anything like that?" And she said, no, because what she was whining about was getting time back. And so it just led into a whole opportunity to do a trade show, training for them. So the point is, I think they're really, really listening.
Yeah. Did you tell her to listen to last week's show?
Yeah, I did.
Trade shows? Because but see, this is the whole thing. I think people are grasping because close ratios have dropped. Things are perceived as being tough out there and so forth. People are grasping more than anything, more than ever before, just to try to find something. And this goes back to what you said, listening. And the listening begins before the meeting occurs because they're listening to the industry. They're really honing in on the industry. I was talking with a president of a company the other day. We were talking about one of their competitors. And I asked him, I said, when was the last time that you read all of your competitors' annual reports? And he said, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. And if this is coming from the president, I wonder where it's at with the sales organization. See, so again, listening is not just on the call, but it's getting to the call all the way through.
Yeah, I love what Bryn is saying here. She said, knowing what your prospects are searching for or challenged with before they need your solution is key. Bryn, that's so good, because that's exactly where I was going to go. I think the other thing that really proactive sellers, I was just thinking to myself this morning, I'm selling something right now that is proactive. In my opinion, everybody's focused on AI as being the biggest challenge in the marketplace. I don't think it's the biggest threat to business today. I think it's something else. And so, to Bryn's point, I'm watching the trend in the marketplace, and I'm watching and seeing where the cliff is coming. And I think as salespeople, it's your job to know the industry better than even the people in the industry know it. So what are you doing to really predict and help them understand they even have a problem before they know they have a problem?
But see, to do that, people have to accept the fact that you got to find an industry, and this is what you got to play in. This is where you have to dance. Don't sit there and spray and pray and run across everything. And again, it comes back to what I mentioned earlier. I think so many AI tools are allowing us to just prospect across the whole free world. And no, get focused, get tight, because the only way you're going to understand what's going on in your industry is to actually be the one who is shaping the industry. That means you're so focused on it that everything evolves around what you're doing. But I think what this means is that salespeople have to spend more time reading, more time researching, and the information's out there. I mean, AI, the internet, it's out there. You just got to take the time to go in and read it and understand it.
Yeah, you also have to verify that it's accurate. That's important too, because there is an unbelievable amount of information out there, but you've got to make sure that you're focused on that information, that accurate. Terry Brock, boy, I don't know anybody that understands AI better than Terry. If you don't follow Terry, you really need to do it. But he said, AI can really help us focus. He finds the task and reminders help focus on key important variables. I agree. And, and Terry, I go in every morning and I'll just ask what's going on in certain industries. What do I need to be paying attention today? If you were me, where would you focus your time and really focus your energy? And I think that's incredibly valuable. But I want to chime in here with what Andy Greenberg is saying. This is so, take this mic drop moment from the podcast. Proactive sellers do not find opportunities, they create them. You are one step ahead of what is happening with your customers.
And I love that comment, Andy, because here's the whole thing. So many salespeople walk in with the solution, and they have the solution and they want to force it into the hole. They want to, it's the square peg into the round hole, and it doesn't fit. The top performers are sitting there in terms of finding opportunity. They're just listening. And they're understanding how they can help fashion a solution that's going to help them. And that is the big difference. And I think this comes back to the confidence factor that salespeople have. I was with an organization this week, and I said, really, when it comes down to it, there's only two ways to grow your business. You either change your mindset or you understand your value prop better. Change your mindset or understand your value prop. And in order to understand your value prop, you've got to listen, which as you listen, you change your mindset. And as you change your mindset, you're going to find your value. The two literally go hand in hand. But I think so many salespeople don't understand what the value prop is because they don't know how to predict the opportunity, period.
Yeah. Mark, do we have a question today?
Oh, we do have a question. The question comes to us from John in Seattle. He says, thanks so much. We love the show out here. I run a small sales team in a seriously saturated market. We've been inbound we have seen inbound slow down so much this year. I need to get more proactive, not on calling prospects, but in helping prospects realize they need our products. This is a perfect example. They got the prospect, but they're not getting anywhere with them. And because they're not taking the time to really listen and understand. And I'm going to challenge John. John, are all of these prospects in a tight industry that you and your team really understand? I'm going to challenge you on that question, John.
Yeah, I'm gonna push back on that a little bit, because I don't work in a specific industry. I work on solving a specific problem. And so, so I feel like what you need to know is to be an expert, either, as Mark said, in a particular industry, or an expert at solving a particular problem that may span over, over several types of industries. But when I think about your sales team, if I wanted to move my sales team from being reactive to proactive, in fact, I'm getting ready to do this for a mortgage company. For 1 week, we have sent the salespeople out to do nothing but listen. In fact, we don't want to sell a product. They are to come back telling us everything that the customers complained about. If you want to be a proactive sales team, you need to shift how you think about the customer complaint. And you need to see customer complaints as the gift. Because when customers complain, they're telling you what isn't being serviced in the marketplace. They're giving you the proactive path. And if you solve that, you'll beat out the competition.
Which tells us that we actually learn the solution the customer is looking for by simply listening to them. I love this comment from Lucky. Says AI as a guide and tool, but as a human, we are better in sales. It's so true. And that's why we stack both of those on top of each other. Don't allow AI to control your sales process. Allow AI to contribute to your sales process. Bill King, boy, we haven't heard from you in a while. Good to catch up with you. In addition to knowing your ideal client profile, I think knowing who to refer prospects to when they don't fit your profile helps you be an industry expert. That's how you raise your profile in the industry, because you may not be able to service everybody, but you pass them off to somebody who can. And that, again, is only being done by the confident salesperson out there, the one who's really listening and understanding the customer.
Yeah, I also think, Bill, such a great comment, because I also think that's how you're proactive too, right? Like, being a proactive salesperson doesn't always mean that you're solving the problem that your customer has. Maybe they have a problem and it's not in your area of expertise, but you solve the problem for them, and they see you as that. They see you as that resource. They see you really, really as that expert. The other thing I'm going to tell our listener today with the question is, if I had to move my sales team, number one, I'd send them out and send them to listen and come back. And once you have all those complaints, once they have, gathered everything that your customers are whining about, look for the trend. Look for what is the common between customers, because that common thread is telling you what the biggest issue is, what the biggest need is, and where your biggest proactive opportunity is.
And John, I want to share with you, have your salespeople go out and talk to some of your existing customers. Have them talk to 5 existing customers. What is the real benefit that you've been able to help them with? How have you been able to really move the dial with them? And you're going to use that knowledge that's going to help you learn new questions, and it's going to help you know how to respond differently to the prospects. And I think that's going to help you, because again, if you don't know where you're going, any road's going to get you to where you're going. Yeah. Hey, there's a real question that I've got, and that is, when do we know too much? I mean, is there a point in time where you can sit there and just ask and listen to the customer too much, and you really need to get into selling? Do you think there's
oh, go ahead.
No, I'm throwing it out there for you.
Well, I definitely think that. I mean, we've all been on those sales calls, right? Where you're like, oh my God, salesperson, like you've been with somebody and you're like, frickin' transition this to whatever. So I'm going to answer this in kind of a wonky way. I mean, I don't think you can ever listen too much, but I think you need to listen in segments. Like, if they have an urgent need, a really big problem that needs to be solved, and you're down the rabbit hole in a conversation of what they want to do with the company in the next 5 years, you just missed the opportunity. Now, you still want to have the conversation of what they want to do in the next 5 years, but there's an urgent need on the table that you need to solve and you need to take care of.
I like how you answer that, because I do think, I love the discovery phase, but you can stay in the discovery phase too long. Once you begin understanding what a potential solution is, you've got to start teeing it up. And I think it goes back to what you said. Then your learning is kind of coming in segments. Absolutely spot on with that. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And and you can have fun with those transitions. I mean, you can just say, I could say, oh my gosh, Mark, it is clear we have a lot to talk about. I'm really excited about this relationship, but I know the biggest need you've got right now. I know the thing that's, going to give you, peace of mind, save you a little bit of money. So let's talk about that one. I'm going to keep some notes, wrap this up. I'll follow back up with you. But like, you're setting up that next call, but you're taking care of, of what's on fire for the client.
See, that's one of the most basic ways that we can do discovery and learn new information is on the next call, you loop back and you bring something that they shared previously and you bring it back into the conversation now. That is so good because it does two things. One, it does allow you to gain more information, but it tells the customer, wow, she actually listened to me. Salespeople don't listen, and it changes the scope dramatically. Yes.
Yeah, I love what Gabriel is saying here. So glad that this is impactful for you. And Andy Greenberg tees up again: create your client's future, then make it history. And Andy, you really made me think about something, in the sense that I think the other is, if you want your team to be more proactive, in fact, they need to be more proactive. I don't know what your top 20% of your clients are, but those accounts need to be proactively managed, because the moment that somebody gives you their business, they're giving you their trust. And I always say that the worst thing that can happen to you is not that you don't get a sale. It's that your existing customer finds out about a product or service they need from somebody else other than you. And you never, ever want that to happen.
Hey, I got to put that comment back up there because that last word, history. Andy, I know, Andy, you don't mean this, but people may interpret it. You're not saying that, you sell the customer once and then you walk away from them and they're in the history books. No. Andy, you know it better than anybody. You never close a deal, but you open a relationship. Spot on. Great comment. See, this is the whole thing. When you understand your customers better, it is amazing at what can happen and what will happen. But again, you can't go into a call without doing two things. One, having done the research ahead of time, which is easier than ever now. Hello, because AI is out there. But of course, go back to what Mary said, you got to double check and verify information. And two, developing the questions that you want to ask, and then shut up and listen. Yeah.
Yeah. I love what Terry's hearing. Now we can learn more than ever about what our clients are asking for. He said, just yesterday, I worked with ChatGPT's new Soul. I don't even know about this. And it helped to reveal some ideas I had never thought of before. Amazing breakthrough. Soul revealed areas I had not even considered. That's what you want. I mean, I love that piece of advice from Terry for our listener asking the question, because basically what you need to be doing as a sales leader is push your team to be proactive.
Oh, you do have to push it. And man, I guess I got some homework to do right after this, and that's find out what ChatGPT Soul is. Yeah. So yeah, I love Lucky's comment. As an expert, we can provide feeling and emotional, but AI, see, this is the whole thing. Take the knowledge that you're learning, take these insights that you're learning, but then you've got to begin to phrase it, because again, and Lucky sets up a great word, emotional. We like to think that, I'm in B2B sales, it's all fact driven. Liar, pants on fire. It is incredibly emotionally, every decision is emotionally driven. So you've got to make sure that you don't leave that out. Love it.
Yeah. So Marcus, look, time is running. It is probably time for the book.
It is book. We're going north of the border to our friend Craig Elias. And this book's been out for a while, but it's Triggers by Craig Elias. I love this book because I'll tell you what, if you've read it, go back and read it again, because it's going to force you to really dig in and understand what are some triggers out there. Bryn hasn't jumped in because, again, there's a lot of triggers that we can find on LinkedIn. Bryn, I'm surprised you didn't kind of chime in with some LinkedIn thoughts.
Well, I think what I love about sales triggers and what I love about this book for this episode is, if you feel like there's a deficit in them understanding what the triggers are, then this is the book for you to help educate your team on what a sales trigger is and how to look for it.
And I'll tell you what, if you're a sales leader and you have a sales team, get your team together next time they're together and have them share what's one insight you learned. And the idea being is that everybody shares an insight. The objective is that everybody on the team then says, what's a way that I can take that insight and push it a little further? find out even more, find out even more. And you're going to kind of develop that trigger muscle. So anyway, great book. Pick it up. Craig Elias, Triggers. Lightning round. Ready?
I am.
Top 10 ways to build your reputation. You got a great reputation. You don't need to do this.
Well, don't we all need to work on building our sales reputation? So, number one, you need to be providing really great content out there, problem-solving content.
I love it. I'm going to say you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent with what you're doing day in and day out.
Yeah. Number three, treat the sales call as a privilege. Show up prepared, show up ready, and make sure in your mind you can provide some level of value.
I'm going to build on that. Show respect. Show respect for every person that you meet on that call, in that call, however it is that you're meeting.
Yeah. Number five, be ridiculously responsive. Like, be on it so quickly. Even if you can't handle it right then, let them know you can't handle it when you'll get back to them.
Wow. Make sure you have in your circle other people of respect. If you're hanging out with scum, you will quickly be seen as scum. Choose your friends wisely.
Yeah. I would say really, if you want to build your sales reputation, be really well networked, know everybody in the industry, and make sure everybody in the industry knows you.
I'm going to build on that. And that means you're giving referrals. You are helping others succeed.
Yeah. Stay visible through the sales process. Make sure that, they have all the ways that they can contact you. Make sure if you close the deal, you check back in to make sure that things are going well.
Make sure you are complimenting others. I think we're at probably 9 or 10. Once you share one more, I'll share one more.
Okay. I would say that if something goes wrong, just own it, apologize for it, fix it, and move on, even if you don't think it's your fault.
I love it, because I was going to add humility. Demonstrate humility, and it's amazing and how far you'll go. What a great show. We've had a great show, great audience this morning. Thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. Something we've said has earned you a single dollar. Consider telling a friend about our show, because it's how we grow when we help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meredith Elliott Powell.
Remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
all of this uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
And the sale becomes logical.
All right. We want you to stay tuned. Mark and I are getting together in the next couple of weeks, going to put some final details, but don't forget, you want to inquire, find out about this Sales Logic community, how we are really going to go behind the podcast and help you make 2027 your best year on record. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.